Hello everyone. So far we have looked at multiple means in which you can execute a Python code. So first we have opened up a Python shell in the terminal. We also have looked at opening up a IPython shell in the terminal. We looked at executing certain statements there. We also have later discussed about the different IDEs that we can leverage. In detail, we have looked at what Jupyter Notebook is and how we can make use of Jupyter Notebook in order to run the Python code. We also can interpret the output for every single statement or for every block of code that you are executing within Jupyter Notebook IDE. Now let's look at making use of terminal again in order to run the Python script. Not necessarily opening up a Python shell, but rather we'll make use of terminal in order to run the Python script directly. So if you are closely observing this particular folder called test project, so this is one of the folders or project directories that we have created initially. So we have this environment.yaml file where we have stored the complete environment that we have created. We also have this requirements.txt, which comprises of the different libraries or packages along with their version numbers present here. And now I have written a simple script called test.py, which does not have anything for now. Let's write a simple print statement and call it as this is from test.py script. Okay. So this is a simple print statement that I have written now. I have saved this particular file. I navigate back to this terminal, look at the present working directory, and I point to this test project folder where I have saved my test.py script. I can look at the contents of this particular directory. Now I understand that test.py is one of the files that are present in my current working directory, which is nothing but the test project folder as such. I can run this test.py by just keying in this command Python followed by the name of the script. And you get this particular result back. So this is from test.py script. This is a print statement that we have already written within this particular Python script. So whatever you are writing within this particular script now gets executed from the terminal by just using this command called python space, the script name. The script name here is test.py, right? So test.py. And hence I'm always providing the script name followed by this particular Python here so as to run that particular script and then generate the result back here. So terminal is acting as a console to you now. This console is the information where you are perceiving whatever output that you have generated from test.py script at all. Now I'm going to alter this particular program in a way that I am defining item price as 200 and item quantity as 2. Again, I'm going to calculate this total amount that we have calculated in one of our earlier sessions, which considers this item price multiplied by the item quantity. We can also attribute to this additional tax component here to the item price, just adding off this particular tax component, which is nothing but 18% of the total item price that we might observe. And then whatever resultant total amount gets calculated gets stored in this particular variable, which I'm trying to print out now. The total amount is total underscore amount. Let's save this particular file. Let's go back to the terminal and then run this particular statement again or command again. Now you get the result back for whatever code changes that you have done to test.py script. So the total amount that the customer needs to pay here is $472, wherein you have hard coded the values of item price and item quantity. So we have necessarily looked at hard coding these values, and we are not dynamically providing the values for item price and item quantity here. Let's make some more changes to this code in such a way that you are dynamically supplying these values. Let's import sys module. Sys module is a built-in module again that Python is offering us. So sys module is predominantly useful for accessing the runtime information and interact again with the Python interpreter. So whatever runtime information that we have, so during runtime, whatever information that we have can be accessed by using sys module. So that's the whole objective of making use of sys module to perform such activities. Let's say that I am making use of something called argv, sys.argv, reference with 0th index, and I'm assigning this to something called script name. Okay. I'm also printing first argument received is script underscore name. Let's save this test.py script again. Let's rerun this particular code. Now you understand that the first argument received is test.py here. So whatever information that we are providing as arguments followed by Python is what is being received in the test.py script itself by using sys module. So sys module will help us access the runtime information. So this is one such information where we are able to access the arguments that we are supplying while running the Python code. Now this is index 0. Right? Now you can supply more arguments by providing more and more values here following this test.py, right? Which will have their own indices like 1, 2, and 3. Now let's write this particular statement or command. Let's also provide a value of 100 and item quantity of 3. So now this is going to be index 0 is going to be my script name. Index 1 is going to be my item price. Index 2 is going to be my item quantity. Let me go back to the script and make some more changes to it. So now sys.argv of 1, index 1 is going to be my item price. So I comment this item price and item quantity all together. And now I reference the second index to item quantity. So now we are dynamically defining the item price and item quantity. We are making use of these arguments that are passed as item price and item quantity in order to compute the total amount that the customer is supposed to pay and present the information back to the console or terminal again. Now let me come back and run this particular command. Now we observe a particular error because of the issue with the data type. We know about this issue earlier, right? So we always need to do typecasting here. Convert this item price to float and convert this item quantity to int. So we are doing this typecasting in order to necessarily convert string type to float and integer type respectively. Now let's go back to the terminal. Let's clear this off first. So it's no longer looking cumbersome. Let's run this command again. And now you understand that the total amount is 354, which is computed completely based upon the arguments for item price and item quantity that we have just now passed. So let me pass 200 for item price and 2 for item quantity, which returns 472 value now. I can dynamically update these values so as to understand what could be the resultant total amount that the customer should end up paying depending on the arguments that I'm passing here while invoking this test.py script. So test.py script is always the first argument that you would receive, and hence you always provide index 0 for sys.argv in order to understand what is the script that you are trying to execute. What is the script, right? And then index 1 points to the subsequent value that you are passing while running the Python script. And the last one could be item quantity. You can extend this to any number of parameters or any number of arguments that you can pass while invoking the script here. Okay. So I believe we have pretty much understood on how we can run this script from terminal itself. So tomorrow, if someone is running a Python script right from the terminal, there should not be any confusion that he or she already has written some code in the repository that he is pointing to, right? In the present working directory that he is pointing to. We already have this particular code that's written, and he's just trying to run this particular code directly from the terminal and then look at interpreting the results there. Okay. Like there is some error again, which we can fix, right? So index is out of range because I have not necessarily provided the values for argv index 1 and argv index 2. So this is index 1, this is index 2, and this is index 0. That's all in this particular session, and thanks for watching.